Так прекрасно, когда гости приезжают в город. Наверняка у тебя было много приключений. Может, тебе нужна спутница, м? Только представь, 2 женщины. Когда-нибудь я буду прекрасной героиней. Это так.
That still implies that gossip itself, however, I believe it ties the community together. Gossip is inclusive. Spend an hour with me, and you'll know everything about everyone, and truly feel like one of the locals. Then allow me to provide. I have it on good authority that one of which is standing. I'm not at liberty to say from whom I received this information, but you can take a guess. Indeed, they asked me what I saw, and I do mean that literally. General Tullius, meanwhile, was screaming at Altis for letting... Which is laughable. Robbia couldn't even... According to my sources, the only person to... Alone, this would mean little. But consider this. Not the scales of an Argonian, but that of a dragon. As much as a Kadgit is a cat, a Dunmer is a Daedra, and a wood elf is a tree. So yes, that's ex... For one, I'm an excellent listener. Second, I'm delightful to speak with. Not only do I have interest... For instance, if I were to tell you, then we'd begin to dwell on... Now, if I were to tell you that Jarl Elisib trusts Folk Firebeard with everything, and perhaps curl my lips, I imagine you would have little difficulty formulating a reply. As a court attendant, I mostly deal with acquiring clothes. The Blue Palace cannot have its Unfortunately, much of the clothing I had recently nothing like these peasant bodices the Nords wear. You should have seen the quality of It's rather difficult to feel like... I suppose I will have to make my face all the more stunning to compensate. I'm not a gossiper, just gregarious. I'm not high maintenance, just high. Nobles cannot simply skulk around like common thieves. We must present ourselves in a fashion only because there's a misconception that gossip... Yet can you imagine how... I told you that Rogvir... But what if I told you Rogvir had a taste for men? Why, the story would have an entirely new twist. Oh, you're no fun at all. For a second, I thought you were being serious. Oh, very well then. Leave me in suspense. Dari has put on quite a bit of weight in the past month. It's no wonder she's so bitter. Aya never used to cover her hair. Thank Debella she does now. Her locks and her makeup were telling 2 different stories, and both... Oktiev-san saw the face of one of the 8 at the Skiver again. Yesterday, it was Debella's figure on a towel stain. The day before, Roland refuses to dignify but Silana is... One of these days, Oktiev is going to ask Silana to inspect the... According to Ildi, her and the Skiver Bard... I'm afraid the Breton doesn't even know Ildi exists. You ever notice that Katla and Greta wear the... And you never see them in the same room together. All I'm... Attar is a menacing one, isn't he? Now you're... He reminds me of the sort of man whose wife disappears mysteriously. Ever notice how pale the court mage is? And it gets stranger. She... Given her penchant for hunting vampires, some of the servants... Aya never used to cover her hair. Thank Debella she does now. Attar is a menacing one. Now Yorn is a He reminds me of the sort of man whose wife disappears mysteriously and all his neighbors are just... That still implies that gossip itself... However, I believe it ties the commute. Gossip is inclusive. Spend an hour with me and you'll know everything about everyone. And truly, then allow me to provide you with it. I have it on good authority that Ericur's wizard, one of which is standing over his master's bed. I'm not at liberty to say from whom I received this information, but you can take a guess.